Hello again, in this lesson I will cover 3 points. First is how to modify wall profiles. Next, how to create custom walls, because usually you will come across irregular walls, especially in heritage buildings. And finally, I will deal with volume reduction in walls. So without further ado, let's start with the first one, wall profiles. Well, there are 2 ways to customize the vertical profile of any wall. One is like I did in the previous lesson to confirm the wall to other elements. It can be like a roof or floor, using the attached top base, and the second one is using the profile editing. By the way, all these settings are available because I select my wall. If you don't have these options, select the wall and they will appear. So let's start with the first option. If I reset my temporary height isolate by going down here in the view control bar, hit the icon that looks like an eyeglass. As you can see, I do have a wall in here and a roof that looks like an industrial roof. To use the option, first select the wall and from the modify wall panel, choose attach top base and select the element you want your wall to attach to. In this case, the roof. And you can see the wall follows the pattern of the roof. Technically, what this is doing is it forces the wall to take the form of the element in which it is attached. Well, the wall is forced, so it doesn't show the settings in the project properties panel. It only shows the original settings. Second one is using the edit profile. To illustrate this, I will use part of my project above the roof level. Let's check out this for a second in AutoCAD. This is the part I will create using edit profile. The dimensions are all in here, so I will use this to create mine in Revit. Let's go back to Revit again. To make this more visible, I will use split windows. Let's choose 3D view and east elevation. Hit W to tile the windows. Select the wall and hit edit profile. This will take you to sketch mode. And in here you can draw your shape. First let me create the reference line and I will clean them later. Choose the pick line from the draw panel and give it an offset. The offset values that you insert in here are the dimensions from the AutoCAD, okay? First I will give it 4.83 and offset the line upward. Like so. Again enter 3.05 and offset the line upward again. I will repeat the same process until I finish. Now for the vertical reference line, and finally I will use the trim command from the modify panel to clean it. Select only the lines you need to left with. Let's use the start end radius arc to create the arc from this point to this. Give it a radius of 3.05, simply write 3.05 and hit enter. Clean it as required. And instead of repeating the same process on the other end, first select this wall and hit delete. We don't need it anymore. Now select this wall and mirror it to the other end. Use this center line. And this finishes my top part. Now let's see how to deduct any volume from a wall. To illustrate that, I will use the front wall of my project, and again let's go to AutoCAD to see this. Well, this is the portion that has volume cut out from the wall, and all the measurements are in here. Now let's go back to Revit again to deduct the volume. This is the top level I just added to have a reference view from what I'm about to create. The volume will be in this part. Go to Architecture tab, and from the Build panel, click Component. And this will bring you whatever component that you last used. But for me, I don't want what's already loaded component, so I will go to Mod panel and choose Model in place. In this dialog box, I can set my component category and parameter. You have to give attention to this one because once you choose the category, that will determine the behavior of the component. Since mine is associated with wall, I will choose wall category. Click OK. Next, you can give it a name. I'm not going to change that. So I will simply click OK, and again I'm back to sketch mode. If I go to create tab, you can see the forms, and in here you have void forms, in which I will be using now. As I stated in the previous tutorial, forms are used to add volume and voids to deduct volume. The creation method for both is the same. I have 5 ways of creating forms, and voids are no different. But now the first thing I need to do is set my work plane. So from the work plane panel, hit set. You have 3 options to set your work plane. I will choose pick a plane. click OK, and from my 3D view, I will pick the plane I need to use for sketching. And from the voids, hit this drop down icon and choose Simple Extrusion. And as I did previously, from the draw panel, I will choose Pick Line and give it an offset. The values that I'm going to use is the values that we saw in AutoCAD. The first is 4.17 from here, and the next is 1.11 meter, again 3.16 meter. Do this until you finish your reference lines. After it's easier to clean, these lines are enough to create the shape, so let's use trim to clean the lines. Now you can say I'm done with the right side, and for the left, let's use mirror. I will use the center line of this line, so let me create a small line in here and trim the two again. I don't need this line anymore, so select and hit delete. Select this portion of the shape, and from the modify panel choose mirror using draw axis, and use the center line. Next, clean this part and we are almost done. From the properties panel, check the extrusion start and the end. Give it a small value. You can change that later. Now let's finish creating our shape by hitting green check mark. Let's take a look from the top. Let's deselect and select it again to bring the two gripping icons and move it to the center of the wall. So this volume will be deducted from the wall later. If the deduction is not done automatically, from the geometry panel, click cut, select the part you want to cut, in this case the wall, and next select the volume you want your wall to cut with, which is a void extrusion, and hit the green check mark to finish the command. And last but not least, let's see how to create custom walls quickly. And for this I will use different method of creation. So from the architecture tab and build panel, click component, and from the mode panel, choose model in place. Choose category, and let's hit wall. Because our purpose is to create a custom wall, leave the name as it is, click OK. From the create tab, workspace panel, click set to set our work plane. In here, I will use by name for already created work planes, so let's choose one level. That will do for me, click OK to exit from here. And for my means of creation, I will choose sweep now. In here, a shape has to follow a path in order to achieve 3D. So you have to create the path first, then the profile that follows the path. You have 2 minutes of creating a path. Either you can pick a 3D edge or you can sketch it from scratch. I will choose that and start creating the path of our wall. I will use the start and radius arc now and draw an interesting shape like this one. And this green plane will be the plane that we draw our profile. To finish the path creation command, click the green check mark. To create the profile, you have different options. Either you can create it like we did for the path by sketching in here, or if you have already created a profile, you can load it using this icon. For me, I will sketch it, so I will choose edit profile. If this plane is somehow at acute angle and is difficult for you to see, click viewer, and this brings you a small window that puts the plane at an elevation. So let's create a wall that tapers as we go up. Select this part and mirror it to finish. If the lines are wide for you, either you can use large scale or hit TL for thin line. Let's add some interesting shapes like this. Let's clean the wall. I will use split element first to cut the parts. You can find that in the modify panel in here. After that, use trim to clean and select the lines you want to left with. Let's see it one more time in 3D view. Well, as you can see, this will be the profile that follows the path. I will hit the green check mark to finish the profile creation. Now it follows the path, and again hit the green check mark to finish all the custom wall creation. So the question will be, will that act as a wall? So the answer is yes, since the category we chose is wall. Let's add some doors to it, just for fun. From the build panel, click doors. Let's use the default Now it comes out to be beautiful. Well, with this, I will finish the tutorial. Lastly, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon for notification for upcoming tutorials. And if you have any question, you can post it in the comment section.